Los Angeles is burning. Rioters have torched cars, blocked freeways, and turned once safe neighborhoods into danger zones. And the leftist politicians who were supposed to keep the city safe, well, they failed. President Trump's solution is to deploy the United States Marines. And that's right, 700 Marines are now boots on the ground in Los Angeles. Because when chaos reigns, it's time for the adults to step in and restore order. Stay with us as we break down how Trump's move is putting America's republic back in charge. So my name is Tom. I'm with the Daily Beltway. I'm also publisher of the Illinois Review and a White House correspondent with the Next News Network. So let's talk about what's really happening in Los Angeles. President Trump's deployment of 700 Marines isn't just a response to protests, it's necessary steps to restore law and order that leftist leaders refuse to maintain. All of this happened after ICE raids arrested over 100 illegal immigrants, including union boss David Huerta. Protests turned violent. Rioters torched self-driving Waymo vehicles, blocked the 101 freeway, and attacked police. And what did California leadership do? What do you guys think? They did nothing. The correct answer was nothing. So, on June 8th, President Trump also deployed 2,000 National Guard troops to Los Angeles. Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass both criticized the move as inflammatory, even as people were firebombing police cars and American flags. So, in response to Trump deploying the United States Marines, CNN, of course, had a few things to say. Let's check it out.
We have breaking news now from the Pentagon. CNN can now report that roughly 500 Marines are being mobilized in response to the protests in Los Angeles.
And this is a significant escalation from President Trump, who had activated National Guard troops over the weekend without Governor Gavin Newsom's consent. In this new move, active duty military members are being deployed as a show of force against U.S. citizens. CNN's Natasha Bertrand is live for us at the Pentagon. Natasha, what are you learning?
Well, Brianna, this is something that Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth had previewed over the weekend. He said that if necessary, he would deploy the Marines to Los Angeles to help federal agents with handling the protests there. And it appears now that these Marines, according to our sources, they have been mobilized. These 500 Marines, a full Marine battalion based out of 29 Palms, California, which is just outside San Bernardino, about an hour away from Los Angeles. They have been mobilized and they are gearing up to go and help ICE agents as well as other federal officials deal with these protests in Los Angeles. Importantly, they're going to be bolstering as well the National Guard.
That's a weird place to pause. Hang on.
Guards.
You ever notice how she's all like bouncy and stuff? I don't know if it's her first day on camera or not.
Activated in Los Angeles by President Trump. But as you said, it is a significant escalation of the president's use of the military as a show of force.
I used to bounce a lot like that when I was in front of the White House because everybody would watch it. But they need to have troops here, and CNN's going to tell you that it's not necessary.
Against these protesters. It's really not clear, the last time Marines were deployed to help essentially with riot control.
1992, George Herbert Walker Bush in 1992 deployed United States Marines, I think it was 1,000 of them, along with 3,000 National Guard troops to the LA riots in 1992. These guys can't seem to understand that because they were all for it back in the 90s. Now they're not again. And they don't, how do they not translate that? It's literally a 30-second Google search.
Although it's unclear at this point just what their actual tasking will be. Typically, if they are deployed to these situations, it is expected that they will operate in much the same way that the National Guard does, doing things like perimeter security, maybe some crowd control. But the rules of engagement here, we are told, are still being finalized, and Defense Department lawyers are also looking at the kinds of rules of engagement these Marines will have as they encounter protesters, possibly on the streets of Los Angeles. But again, this coming at a very, very tense moment with the governor of California suing the Trump administration over, of course, the deployment of the National Guard by President Trump against his will there in California.
All right, so the Marines and National Guard cannot enforce the law of the land unless they are under the Insurrection Act, because when they're under the Insurrection Act, that gives them police powers. Otherwise, a Posse Comitatus is in effect. So yesterday, you saw the National Guard. I'm not on script. Yesterday, you saw the National Guard talking. They were protecting the federal building. So when Trump did federalize the National Guard, pulled 2,000 troops from Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom suing him today over that, but that's not going to go anywhere because President Trump has the exclusive constitutional authority to do so. They were on federal property. They stayed there. They kept people off of it. They went back to their place, which is exactly what they're entitled to do. Now, if he were to declare this an insurrection and use the Insurrection Act to deploy the United States Marines and federalize the National Guard under that, they can full-on arrest people, do whatever they need to do to keep this republic safe. Back on script. As you guys just saw, CNN was reporting that the Marines might raise questions about Posse Comitatus. But let's be honest, these violent mobs aren't just peaceful protesters. They're insurrectionist agitators emboldened by leftist policies that undermine our republic. President Trump's move to send in the Marines is just the adult response that's been long overdue. U.S. Northcom did make it clear the Marines are there to protect federal property and personnel. If this chaos keeps growing, Trump has every legal right to invoke the Insurrection Act and do what's necessary to protect the republic. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom and his leftist allies want to sue, complain, and deflect. But the people see the truth. President Trump is standing up for America while Democrats let it burn again. If you guys got value from this news update, tap subscribe. I have an opinion on all this here in a second. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe. All that stuff helps us grow as we are a new channel. So, here's my take. President Trump's decision to send in the Marines is exactly what the Republic needs right now. Leftist politicians let these riots get out of control with weak leadership and failed policies, and Trump didn't hesitate, just like he never does. He acted, and that's what real leadership looks like. It's about time someone put America first, stood up to the violent mobs, and reminded us that this is a nation of laws and not chaos. We need strong leaders who will protect our streets, our families, and our republic. And as always, guys, stay tuned, stay strong, and stay informed. God bless.